Okay, good afternoon again. I'm trying to share my screen and we can proceed directly to the challenge introduction. Okay. Um, Today we're going to start the new challenge, which is the week 2 challenge. So mainly in week 2, we are focusing on customer experience analytics for fintech apps. To make it clear, this challenge will help you to understand or to analyze the customer satisfaction with mobile banking apps for Ethiopian banks and those for commercial bank of Ethiopia and yeah, dashboards review on Play Store, and we try to grasp what are the main things that our people are complaining about or talking about toward these apps. Why this is important for us to understand, because whether you have said that in this banking area, it's very competitive for them to keep on the momentum. So they need to keep an eye on their apps review and apps rating that the customer at the end of the day customer is the only person who is interacting with your system, so that's why they need to review and each time to act on these reviews. And when we say review, all reviews are not equal, because sometimes some complaints become more critical than the others. Sometimes people may say, "Wow, this is good app and keep up the good work and I love it. I have used it in this and that place and it saves my time." Yeah, that's nice. But some complaints need an urgent review on that specific complaint, even if it's a feature, update that feature, or if bank X have a fingerprint and your banks doesn't have that fingerprint, you have to include this fingerprint login. Or if X bank is for security purpose, added this one time or authentication. So you have to also have this authentication code included on your bank, because this is a reason for the security glitch. And also you can see that some banks are very fast and some banks apps are slow. And in order to be competitive in this era, your bank should have to know its app review from the customer. So today you're going to be a data analyst for Omega Consultancy, and you have to scrape these reviews from the Play Store and analyze sentiments and identifying the themes and visualize what's the insight that you have for the consultancy free. And basically, we will add on top of what we have done on the week 1, we will add additional skills, which is the web scraping, the thematic NLP analysis, and basic database engineering on these tasks. What's the main objective of this challenge is Omega Consultancy wants to support banks to improve their mobile apps, and as a data analyst, they want you to enhance this customer retention and customer satisfaction. When we say customer retention, customer might go if they are not satisfied with the service that you get. And this time, all banks have these mobile apps, and they can easily switch from banks to banks without any additional hassle. So in order to retain your customer, you have to have an app that is competitive enough into the market. And in terms of satisfaction, you need to satisfy the banking app should have to do what's the basic things that the bank wants. And in addition to the basic things, what's the additional advanced feature that you can give to your customer to stay with you and to have more transaction with your company. So to do that, we will scrape these reviews from Google Play Store and analyze the sentiment and extract the theme and identify these satisfaction drivers like customer pain point or any speed issue, any mm, error reports there. And we will store these clear reviews, and whenever a bank come and asks us, we will deliver a report with visualization and actionable recommendations. So since Omega Consultancy is a consultancy firm, it's not a bank itself, so it needs to provide the data to the banks and the analysis to those banks. So in order to understand the problem well, here we have three scenarios. The first scenario is how can we retain user in this banking area? Because if you can see roughly, CBA has 4.4 rating or mean rating, and BOA have 2.8 rating, and Dash Bank have 4.0 rating. So users are complaining about the slow loading or transfer during this transfer, and you need to analyze this into a broader issue and suggest for areas for the app investigation. That means if a customer is not satisfied with what you have given to them, it's not going to be anymore your customer. They are trying to go to others. And if we see this repeated, let's say, based on this rating, you are seeing that repeated complaints about slow transfer time. That means your customers cannot complete basic transaction quickly, and they are frustrated, and they are likely to abandon your app and switch to other bank. So this is what is coming. So basically, what you can see from the data and what you can do to retain this user is to see the reviews, all the reviews, and check out what are the keywords that can drive the satisfaction or that can drive the pain points, and what's the percentage of that in total. Let's say 30% of um, BOA app users have negative review, or they have negative review mentioned. They said the slow transfer time. They said error in login, the OTP is not working, and so on. So you can collect this as a one team, and you can suggest that they have to enhance the feature that's the security feature one on the transfer part the other, and based on the reviews that you are collected. And you have also a scenario like, imagine you are trying to send money to your family, and you have to wait until 20 seconds, and this frustration will be accumulated, and your bank is not handling the customer as they want, and this and sometimes it may cut the money but doesn't go to the customer, and some other issues are there, real-time update lags. So your core mobile app system should be aligned with the core banking system that you have to retain this customer and to retain this loss of customer churn. So that's the thing when you say about this retaining the customer. And for the bank, if they have unhappy customers, that means these have a lot of negative reviews are there, negative ratings are there. And this will discourage others not to download that bank app as well. So you need to identify these states based on the reviews that you have, and you have to suggest the improvement for those banks. And when you come to the second point, which is the future enhancement, and let's say we have a new thing that is AI assistant on the CBE bank, and these banks are constantly releasing these new features because they need to be competitive enough in these banking apps. And if the traditional apps doesn't contain the new features that user expects from other banks, and they will perceive this is outdated, so they don't want to use. So that is the other thing in terms of future enhancement. Previously, you can see that OTP was the only thing to validate these apps, but now it came to fingerprint, and you can double authenticate by fingerprint and um, your password as well. And this is the new feature that the banks are releasing, and some of the banks doesn't have this new feature enhancement. So you can extract if people are happy with these features, and those banks needs to add these new features into their apps as a customer retaining or and to drive this customer satisfaction. So because of this, you have the feature enhancement requests. So basically, you can extract keywords like what's the new things that drives the customer satisfaction. Maybe if the banks needs to add additional this ledger things or a budget tool that will advise the customers to save their money or to point out where they are spending things like that. They can add also as an additional feature. But let's say 40% of the CV reviews says that they love the AI assistant. So that means including this AI assistant to uh, BOA or bank will be effective in keeping the customers. And also on the other side, you have another additional things that you need to consider into this banking apps. So you can include that one as well. And the other scenario is how do you manage customer complaints? Customer is complaining and saying that they are receiving this and that, transaction failed, or customer support is unresponsive. So many things are raised on the reviews, and if you didn't address this quickly, it will give you a negative uh, feedback on your apps, and your apps might be your customer might go and their experience might lead to them to find another good banks that can provide all these things in one place. And this is something which we can look into it. And what we want, we have to check the reviews. You have to scrape the reviews. You have to check the reviews in terms of dissatisfaction. Either basically within the sentiment analysis, you will get this is a positive sentiment, this is a negative sentiment, this is a neutral sentiment feedback review. And based on that review, you can figure out what's the theme of it. Basically, what you are going to do is that topic modeling on that, and what topics that represents this customer pain point, and what topics that represent this customer satisfaction. So you once you have done that, you will get all the analysis based on the review that you have get. So why this matters? Because in real world, in banking, specifically in this banking sector, um, you have to retain your customer. Customer is the only wealth that you have, so you have to be sensitive to their satisfaction. So at the end, on this specific task, we didn't give you any data sets, so you are expected to scrape this data from the Play Store and the rating, the date, and the app name and the source. So basically, you will have this on from the Google Play Store, and you can extract minimum of 400 reviews per bank. That means if you are able to get more try to scrape as much reviews as much as you can, and that will help a lot for the banks to improve. So as usual, we will have the facilitator team here, and the key dates will be today's Wednesday, the challenge introduction, and we will have the interim submission on Sunday, and the final submission on next Tuesday. So for the communication and support, you can use Slack, and our office hour is this. And what will you learn on this specific challenge will be how you can scrape data and pre-process these user reviews and prepare if there are any challenge that's regarding to scraping this Play Store, and you can see the challenge there. And also, if you have any issues in the last week's challenge in using these NLP techniques, you will have a deep understanding about them on these scenarios, and you will implement the relational database with Oracle, and also you will have you will learn on how to communicate your insights based on the analysis that you have done, based on the things that you have explored. You can complete this to the business stakeholders, which is in this case us. You can tell us, I get this satisfaction drivers for CDE, and I get this negative reviews cited for this much percent for Bank of Abyssinia, and it's so why this help us, because since we are moving to data, making this data to actionable insights. So you will be the key person into translating this specific issue into actionable insights. So when you come to what are the tasks, have 3 tasks. That's you need to scrape the reviews and pre-process them, analyze the sentiment, and synthesize this insight into the actionable insights, and you have to put them into database. So on the first task, you will explore, as usual, we are expecting you to create a new GitHub repository. Then basic repository structures like having this gitignore requirement.txt, your CI/CD pipeline needs to be set up there. And for each tasks, you are expected to create a branch for that one. And for the first task 1, which is the data collection step, so you need to create one new task branch and create the web scraping scripts there and running that for like for one-time use, you can use that, or if you want to schedule that, you can use cron to scrape more and more um, scraping more and more reviews. So for these 400 reviews, you can scrape all in one. And what we will expect from this specific task is 1,200 plus reviews, and which is less than 5% missing data and a clean CSV data set. And don't push your data to GitHub, but keep it in Git ignore. This is what's expected from you. And on task 2, you are expected to do sentiment and thematic analysis. That means sentiment, as you have know all that time, you have three categories for the sentiment: either it's positive or negative or neutral. Uh, in this case, in this specific scenario, you can use the Hugging Face digital bird donkeys fine-tuned sentiment model to label your sentiments. And as you all know, we are using both Amharic and English in the sentiment. So basically, you need to deal out with all these specific issues, because some of the banks have a review in Amharic, some of the reviews contains emojis, and things like that. So you need to process you to go more. You need to change the model to other models, and you can find these models from the Hugging Face official models channel. And there are models that can support Amharic too, so you can use that one as well. And if you want to go with the simpler start, you can use either this further or text blob. And what is expected from this specific subtask is to label the reviews into positive or negative or neutral sentiment. And on the next part, you are expected to analyze the thematics. That means what's the theme, recurring concept or topic within these user reviews, and you can check it this with respect to their sentiment. And basically, we're suggesting to use this TF-IDF and using, or you can use any LDA methods to extract those keywords and cluster based on their teams. And what you are expecting from the pipeline, we expect the pre-processing, the tokenization, the stop removal, which are useful with these NLP libraries like CPy or Pandas, and the CSV with the theme that you have identified, the sentiment you have labeled, and the sentiment score. So this is task 2. And for task 3, you have collected all those things, since banks are using this, most of the banks are using this Oracle, let's say, database. So you need to design this Oracle database for Omega to sync with the bank's working environment. So what we are expected to do is to set up Oracle and have these schemas for specifically for this storing these bank informations, like what's the bank that you are reviews for, and you have it, and you can start having this storing. After storing this, you can start analyzing what's the things that are came into this app review. So the insight and recommendation part, we will deep dive and compare the banks, either CBE versus BOA, BOA versus Dashin, or versus CBE. You can suggest the two improvement, you can plot, and you can show the sentiment trends, the rating distribution, keyword clouds. And you can have this in task 4 branch, and you can submit all these things. So basically, the due date will be the June 8th for the interim submission, and for the final submission will be June 10th. As usual, the reportings should include all the things that you have done, but not more than 7 pages. And for the GitHub, you have to include all the tasks, the codes that you have for all tasks. And no need to have additional repository for this the interim submission and the final submission. And if you have Medium, you can also work on it for both interim and final, so you can update it. So for tutorials, we will have day one, which is the scraping basics and data cleaning. And for day two, we will have the sentiment and keyword extraction and database fundamentals. We will have this and insight communication and plotting for stakeholders. The other the third class that we will have, and we will have the unit test and integration testing. And on day 4, we will have a Q&A session. These are the reference that you can check on them. And if you have any question, let me have it. Any question? Is that clear, or are you able to follow? So at least it's clear. Do you know where to start? So for the database part, you need to use Oracle. It might be somehow challenging, but we will recommend to use Oracle. Hey Sumaya, we have moved the interim submission to be on Sunday, so it's already moved. I'm done. Excuse me, I'm Michael. I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Okay. I also have a question regarding on the database. Is it Oracle database and Oracle XI are the same? Since if we are going to install Oracle database, it will consume a lot of resource because it's a resource intensive database. So do we mean that's actual database or this one is a later one?
I think better to install the light one. So that means I know Oracle is resource intensive and it needs more RAM and processor, but as you get this Express edition, it's a free one, and which is a limited capacity edition. So you can use that one. For learning and for development, that's fine.
Okay. And also, since we are going to scrap the data, are we going to design the database tables by ourselves, or you are going to give us the schema of the tables?
No, you have to design the schema by yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Any question? Anything which is not clear, but the Express edition is the good one, so let's use this for Express Edition? Ernest, you can export it to Google Calendar format to CSV, and you can import it to your Google Calendar, the Notion one. Uh, Germa, I hope I have answered the question, but Oracle Express Edition will be the good one rather than the actual Oracle. So exactly, at least we are clear, we are on track, we know what to start. So, Surah, you will get the data by writing a scripts to collect, to scrape the data from Play Store. And once you have collected that from the Play Store, you will try to pre-process and clean that reviews, and you can start working on them. And Mikhail, I would suggest better to use Oracle, but if you don't want to change that Oracle to other database, you can use any of the database hosts that you have. Yes, you have to collect all the ratings and comments that's given associated to that app. Any question on this? We have all understood what's the concept there, what we need to do, and okay. In terms of overall tasks to do, let me say it once again. So, as an Omega consultancy firm, you are expected to analyze banks' app review, and you have to suggest possible improvement, like either feature improvement or somehow customer satisfaction improvement. So, if the customer is not satisfied enough, for the banks, they don't have any revenue. So, in order to become profitable or to have revenue from their customer, they need to retain, they need to have a satisfied customer. So, for that, Omega Consultancy will consult Ethiopian banks, CBE, and Bank of Abyssinia, Bank of Dashin Bank. Then, for those banks, they want to have a central things, a central insight recommendation tool. That means you have to collect data from Play Store for all these banks, and you have to store that to the database that you have designed, and you have to recommend um, on those observations that you get. When I say observation, you have done the sentiment analysis, you have done the pre-processing, you have done the cleaning, you have done the thematic identification. Once you have done all these things, you will go to save this data into your database associated with that bank. And whenever someone came and asked, let's say I'm responsible for CB, and I came and asked, what's the things that you are observing from our bank's app? So we have released the new the fingerprint, or I say we have released the new AI agent that will assist on our app. So did we get any review on that? You will try to answer that question. So in order to answer this question, you have to collect all the data first from the Play Store, and you have to organize in a way that can be accessible easily. Then you have to recommend based on the observation that you have seen. It's a recommendation that can say maybe most of the people, 40% of the people didn't like the new features that you have added, which is the AI assistant. So people have more inclined with the finger print login, but people may not like the app UI. Maybe the UI is not that engaging. So you will have this kind of suggestion. So do you have to store this review data in the database? Yes, in your database. Okay, exactly. I think I got thumbs up. So any question? If not, let's wrap up it here, and you will have a session next on check your calendar, and we have the scraping session next. How you can do that. So thank you everyone for joining.